So he said, look, he said, you don't look like you're selling stolen products. I said, no, you're right. So he said, I'll give you a couple of $100. So I said, what's a couple of $100? He said, are you married? I said, yes, I am. So he said, well, you and your wife are two. I'll give you $200.
This is the plaintiff, Michael Lawrence. He says he sold some used kitchen appliances to the defendant. The guy agreed to pay him $200, never did, and he can't seem to get him to. He's held up his end of the bargain by giving him the appliances. Now it's time he gets paid. That's why he's suing. This is the defendant, Jose Velez. He says the plaintiff told him he had 4 good working appliances, but in reality, only 2 worked. He's not going to pay this guy for his junk. He agrees to pay him $100, but won't give him $200. He's accused of not keeping up his end of the bargain.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay. Mr. Lawrence, you are suing Mr. Velez and Naples Used Appliances for $200 that you say he owes you for some appliances, used appliances that you sold to him. Is that correct? Tell me what happened.
Yes, Your Honor. So my wife and I bought a condo. We decided to get it, the kitchen rehabbed, and we hired a contractor. Contractor said he wanted the appliances out of the condo before he started. And I remember seeing the defendant's shop close to the condo. So I went in there, told him that I had some appliances I wanted to sell. I showed him pictures from my camera of the appliances. He said, well, I usually don't deal with the public because mostly they're dealing with stolen goods. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, where do you get your appliances from? He said, Miami. I'm like, all right, whatever. So he said, look, he said, you don't look like you're selling stolen products. I said, no, you're right. So he said, I'll give you a couple of $100. So I said, what's a couple of $100? He said, are you married? I said, yes, I am. So he said, well, you and your wife are two. I'll give you $200. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I
were all the
him,
appliances in working order?
Yes, Your Honor, they were.
Okay, go on.
Yes, they were. In fact, I lived in the condo. I used them every day.
Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So they picked them up. And then I think on Monday, I sent him a text saying, okay, you got the appliances. Please send me the check for $200.
Why would you let them take the appliances without paying you beforehand?
Because I was not home at the time.
Then they can, there are other avenues. They can Cash App it, Venmo, Zelle it. There's way, this is a digital world we're living in now. And
right.
Or they can just pick it up later when you're home. There's so many different ways that we could, typically there's a really good way to not get in this problem, which is that you make those guys pay you before they take the stuff,
Right. And I believe I may have asked him whether or not he would pay prior to the pickup. And I believe he said he would not do that until he has the merchandise.
Okay. Mr. Velez, you sent your employees to go pick up the merchandise?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And why didn't your employees just inspect it on the spot?
Well, this is, ma'am, number one is that I do a good, honest business. And I told this gentleman, I got big signs when you walk in the door that says, I don't buy appliances from the public. He just wouldn't leave. And I'm like, all right, dude, I answer 2 phones all day. I deal with people all day with their crap, people and their stuff. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's a tough business. I blame myself for even saying yes to him. I'm supposed to say what I always say, no. Anyway.
Okay, Mr. Velez, what was the problem with the appliances?
The dishwasher, the whole arm on the front door, it was no fixing that. The microwave did not work.
Okay, so why didn't you have your guys return the appliances?
Well, because there was nobody there. the place was empty.
Why didn't you call the plaintiff and tell him, hey, I don't...
did.
And what...
Oh, we talked.
Right.
He didn't want to hear it.
But according to him, what you were doing was trying to pay him less.
Ma'am, because I told him up to $200. I didn't say if I would
Why
have been
didn't
good,
you
I would've
just...
gave him $200.
Okay, hold on. Typically, why didn't your guys just test the appliances if they were all plugged in and...
No, they told me. Well, they told me there were no good there.
Well, then why would they take no good appliances?
Because, well, ma'am, look, in my mind, at the time, I said, it's junk anyway. He wants them out of there. No big deal. I'll get him out because I'm removing his garbage. Really.
Right, except for that what happened instead is you took 4 appliances, according to you, because you're a good Samaritan, and you paid 0. So you're not looking like a good Samaritan.
No, ma'am. I said, listen, I'll give you $100 for the other 2 that work. I said, well, you want me to send a check?
Here's the thing, Mr. Velez, stop screaming at me, number 1. And number 2, okay, if your guys said that it wasn't working and they knew it wasn't working, why did you take items that weren't working?
They were there. I probably had somebody else at the time in the store doing business on the phone or something, and it slipped by me. And that's the honest to God's truth. You know what I mean? And they just took them because they knew they were going to take them all. But when I got them, I called the man and said, listen, this ain't no good and this ain't no good. You know, this is why.
So why didn't you order your guys to go ahead and return the appliances?
Ma'am, like I said.
How do you get to have your cake and eat it too?
I should have just took them all back. I left them in the front porch over there. Well, and let him get somebody else to deal with it.
The better and more professional course would have been to just say, hey, I want to take your appliances back because I don't want to pay $200 for these. But what you did instead was keep his appliances and pay him 0. That's what you paid him.
No. He didn't want the money that I wanted. I asked him.
No, he wants you to abide by the contract because he was selling used appliances as is. And when they left his place, they worked, according to him. Do you have any evidence they didn't work? It's almost worse if your guys tested it and it didn't work at the site. Then why buy them? Don't buy them then. Don't have him leave them there. Why do they take them if they're broken? So if you don't mind, then you're like, oh, you know, it doesn't matter. I'll get them on my side, and when I get them on my side, I'll fix them. Then it was worth the $200 for you. How do you then turn around and say, no, I'm only going to give you half of what we agreed on? How is that okay? In what world is a judge going to say that that's okay? Mr. Lawrence, did you know Mr. Velez and his company before this?
Absolutely not.
Well, did you do a little research afterwards?
Oh, I absolutely did, Your Honor. After I went through his abusive behavior to me on the phone, I did go on the internet, and there are multiple comments that Jose is a liar and a cheat, a racist, a bigot, and an anti-Semite. That's one. Next one, he's abusive and he's a liar. Next one, very bad communications, angry. The owner is a dirty person. He's screaming at me over the phone explicitly. He was attacked by the owner and yelling at my wife. Continued to yell at her and hung up.
Okay, I got it. We can stop now. Now that's fine. We're good. We're good. Mr. Velez, this is a simple contracts case. And you are a professional, and your professional guys supposedly knew exactly what they were buying when your representatives that you sent there took the merchandise. So you don't get to haggle on the price later. I'm ordering you to pay $200 to Mr. Lawrence. That is my verdict.
So the plaintiff prevails. He's going to get $200 from Mr. Velez. Mr. Velez, are you upset or not?
I blame myself. It's a tough business, and I just shouldn't have did it. So the judge made the call, and I got to respect that. Do I agree with it to a certain extent? I have to, because that's what she does. So, and I'm a fair man, and I'm an honest man. I do get angry, and when you're dealing with the public, guys, it's not easy.
You respect her decision. All right, I know you're not happy. All right, Mr. Lawrence, on the other hand, I would assume you feel pretty good, don't you, right now?
Yeah, I do. I mean, to me, I thought it was just a straightforward matter. We had an agreement. He got the appliances. I didn't get paid.
Well, the judge agrees with you. It was a pretty simple case. No question about it. Congratulations. Okay?
Thank you.
Good for you.
All right, thank you.
Harvey?
Well, Doug, you heard the judge. This was an as-is sale, and the defendant's workers should not have accepted the appliances if they were broken. Obviously, in a situation like this, if you refuse delivery, at least that's something. But if you've already made the contract, that might not even save you. The key is, when you buy used products, if at all possible, get a warranty.
I got 2 settlements in the past, but never received a dime. How do I ever get what the court's awarded?
A lot of people are under this misguided impression that when the gavel comes down and the judge or jury says you won and awards you a judgment, that you actually won. You haven't won, really. You win when you collect the money.
As I often tell my litigants, you can take that judgment and you can use it as a doily for your beer, or your coffee, but the person has to be collectible.
Right.
And there's ways to get to that.
It's a process. You can get a lien on real property, on a house or things like that in some circumstances. And there are people who are in the business of helping litigants and people who have been successful in lawsuits collect their money. There are actually firms that specialize in that, helping you.
Well, helping you, and there's actual firms that'll buy the judgment from you.
They'll buy it outright.
They'll give you today's value, or at a discount, or they'll just say, all right, you know what, we'll pay you X on the dollar, and then they chase the person. You've got it. You file the judgment. You make sure it's going to ruin their credit. And the day will come when they will want to borrow money, and someone will say, we're not loaning you money till you pay off those judgments.
And all of a sudden, you get that phone call, and they say, let's work this thing out.
Yeah.
This is the plaintiff, Natika. She says she put down $1,000 a year on a car the defendant was selling. And now a year later, she still doesn't have the car. And the defendant has her $1,000. This isn't fair. She's not going down without a fight and is suing the shady car salesman for the return of her $1,000. This is the defendant, Oliver. He says the plaintiff paid him the $1,000 to fix her Chevy Malibu so she could sell it and buy a new car. He doesn't know what the plaintiff's mad about because he fixed her Chevy Malibu. She's driving it, and he owes nothing. He's accused of being shady. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $311. The additional monies that cost him to fix her Malibu.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Natika, you are suing Mr. Oliver for $1,000 for a down payment that you put on a car, which, according to you, he needs to return to you. Tell me what happened.
Okay, so I met him through a mutual friend, and he told me about Oliver fixing his car before and that he was a good mechanic. So I called him over, and he was fixing my Malibu. He was paid. Then another time, my car was messing up. I had him come over. He was fixing my car. At the end of him fixing my car, he was stating to me that he had a car for sale and that he was selling it. And I was just like, oh,
what was
he
fixing about? Wait, back up a second. What was he fixing on your car that second time?
My car would not start.
So did he fix it?
He was under the hood. He did.
Okay, and what were you supposed to pay him for fixing the car that day?
At that time, we didn't discuss money for the payment. What he said was, I have a car for sale.
So he never gave you a quote about what it would cost to fix the car?
No.
Okay, what was wrong with the car the second time, Mr. Oliver, when you fixed it?
Second time, either the belt or the alternator.
All right, so...
But I think...
Okay, and so according to her, no price for the repair was discussed because instead the discussion became that you had a car that you could sell her, correct?
I told her that after I told her, like, listen, if you want this car fixed, I gave her all the problem. This is what you're going to need to get the car fixed. It's going to cost around this much. She's like, oh, no, I'm done. I'm not going to put this money on this car, this and that. I don't want this car anymore. I'm like, listen. I'm going to get another car. Like, listen, it'd be best for you just to fix the car. It's paid off.
Okay, Mr. Oliver, let me ask you a question. So you tell her about your car. Let's get to that part, can we? You tell her about your car that you have for sale, and what kind of car is it?
2005 Kia Sorento.
Okay, and the two of you negotiate a price to buy the Kia Sorento. what is she supposed to pay you to buy the Kia Sorento?
I think the price that we negotiated for the car was like $4,500.
Okay.
But
and then she gives you a $1,000 deposit on the Kia, correct?
Right, because she said that she was going to trade in the Malibu.
Oh, yeah.
I told her.
So it was 45 plus the Malibu, right?
Right.
Okay.
So, yes, ma'am.
Right. So how long after that do you deliver the Kia Sorento?
How long? When I get the car, I think it's like 3 or 4 months later, something like that.
Why 3 or 4 months later?
Sure.
Why so long?
Because I told her I had this car. She said that she didn't want to pay the car. I said, listen, only thing I could do for you, I could fix this. I could keep you running to keep you going to work and going all that. And I have another car that I'm just putting the engine in.
Okay.
I told her I'm just putting the engine in, and I'm coming to her house. I know she has kids.
Right.
I told her I got to put an engine in this car. I haven't rolled it. I just got the engine, and I got to make sure that it's in good condition. Okay. What I can do is I can keep your car up and running.
Okay.
To allow you to go to work
was she supposed to? Was she right now? So your deal is literally what you just said. She puts $1,000 of a down payment on the car. She has to be patient and wait until you finish putting the engine into the Kia and finish the work you need to do on the Kia. And what you will do for her is keep the Malibu roadworthy so that she can keep using it. That is your deal for the car, right?
I told her that $1,000 if anything happened to the car, I would use that money to keep her going.
Oh, wait, that's different. That's what you're saying now, but that's probably not what you said then any more than it's what you said 30 seconds ago. So, Ms. Natika, what was it according to you that he said?
It was $4,000 plus the car.
$4,000 plus the car.
I have the receipt.
Okay. But
the receipt that he gave me.
Yeah, show me the receipt. You got the receipt? Did you enter it into evidence?
I did.
Okay, here we go. Receipt to Natika, down payment $4,000 total, 2005 Kia Sorento, balance $3,000. The $1,000 is a deposit on the car. All right. So the day comes and the Kia gets delivered, and what is wrong?
No. I never got the car.
Okay, so what happens?
The car was never delivered to me. I call him, I text him, and I guess he calls or responds at his convenience, which I was fine because he was responding to me. But it was always, oh, you're going to get it in a couple of months. I got to do this. Oh, it didn't come. Okay, I told him I'm going to Atlanta. I said, will I have it when I get back? That was in October. He said, yeah, you'll have it when you get back. I didn't get it. He said, oh, you'll have it by your birthday. My birthday was in November. I never got it.
Okay.
Then Christmas, oh, you'll have it for Christmas. I said, oh, this is a great Christmas gift for myself.
You keep saying, I saw the text. You say, great, I'll have something to look forward to when I come back from Atlanta. Bust.
Yes,
great, I'll have something to look forward to 2 months later when my birthday. Bust. Great, I'll have something to look forward to in Christmas. And then what happens?
He comes over. He said, you could test drive it. I get in the car. Me and my boyfriend gets in the car. We head down the road. I notice a crack in the windshield. I was just like, oh, there's a crack. He was just like, oh, I didn't notice that, so we're just going to tag that on to the end of your bill.
What?
I said, no, you're not. You're not going to sell me a car with a cracked windshield. Oh, well, I didn't notice that.
Okay.
I'm not buying no car with a cracked windshield. I'm just not doing that.
All right. So, Mr. Oliver, let me hear your side about the windshield.
My side about the windshield?
Mm-hmm.
My side about the windshield is that she didn't see it. I pointed it out to her. I told her that I would fix the windshield, but the money is going to be coming from my brother.
Well, that's not you fixing the windshield. That's her fixing the windshield. If you're going to tack it on to the end of the payments, then she's paying for the windshield, right?
Right.
Okay. See, here's the thing, Mr. Oliver. Deposits are typically non-refundable. And this is clearly a deposit. This is not, hey, payment for the Malibu. The Malibu you were doing, you were kind of throwing in to make sure you got this deal, because it's not like you were giving her a car the day you got the deal. It's August, and you delivered it 4 months later. So your way he never delivered it. I got it. He never delivered it, but he had it to show to you to test drive 4 months later. So that's why you're fixing the Malibu, and the $1,000 is a deposit. There's not a word here about the Malibu, because the Malibu is, just like Ms. Nikita says, just like you said originally, and just like I believe, the Malibu was kind of a freebie to keep her waiting for those 4 months. that it took you to bring the car by. So the question is, does she have to accept a car with a broken windshield and or accept that she's going to pay for it, but not until the end of? No, she doesn't have to. And that's where everything breaks down. And then she's entitled to her $1,000 back. You don't get to change the $1,000 that was a deposit for the car and say, oh, not only is that for repairs that I made to your Malibu, but also you owe me another $311 for those repairs. No. So on your counterclaim against her for $311, 0. And on her claim against you for $1,000, my verdict is for the plaintiff.
You didn't allow me to complete my case.
So the plaintiff prevails. She's going to get the $1,000. Oliver, you said she didn't get to finish your case.
I wasn't seeking that. I was just explaining to her that $1,000 that she gave me, I used to fix her car. No one's gonna fix your car for free. I told her that. I told her I would deduct it from the payment, and the judge did not even allow me to explain that.
Well, that's the judge's decision. She heard your case, and, she's decided you aren't entitled to it. So that's it. I don't know what to tell you any more than that. Miss Nikita, you are going to get the $1,000 back. It was a deposit. You don't have the car, you get the money back. And you're smiling.
I'm just glad justice was served here. And it's just, I tried to work it out with him, but he just wasn't seeing what I was seeing. And I was not going to pay for a broken windshield that everything was supposed to be fixed. And I waited over 4 or 5 months.
You've been very patient. Good for you. Congratulations. Let's hear what Harvey has to say.
Doug, we've talked about this before, but in a situation like this, it's kind of ridiculous if something is lingering like this for a year. Write a contract out when you buy something, and write time is of the essence. Those are magic words. They mean something. It means that the person you're dealing with has to deliver on time. This was nowhere near on time, and if it were time is of the essence, you could go in immediately and sue if they don't do the right thing.
What is your favorite season and why?
I'm going to go with football season.
You idiot. I don't think that's what they
You don't think that's what they mean? Okay. Then I'm going to say fall is my favorite season.
Yeah, that's mine too.
It's kind of when football really gets
But is it still about football?
And no. But it's also, look, I mean, I love fall because you and I like to get away and see the leaves change even though we live in Florida.
Because we don't have it, because we're in this scorched earth heat in South Florida.
But everybody who does have it gets to see that. It's so beautiful. The air gets drier and crisper, and, apples are coming in on the trees, and there's cider and all kinds of good stuff. You get those holidays like Halloween and Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I start cooking in October.
Yeah,
and my kids, who were just such Floridians, as each of them left for college, they called me every day as soon as fall started, because they hadn't, it was just so cool to just be immersed in that.
It was a revelation.
Yeah,
for them
it really
to
was.
Be there all the time and to enjoy that. And you got college football.
This is the plaintiff, Darlene Brumfield. She says she was walking her dog Poppy on a leash, and the defendant's dog escaped and savagely attacked her poor Poppy. He was almost killed. He's had extensive veterinarian care, and the defendant owes her $5,000. That's why she's suing him. This is the defendant, Brian Ward. He says the plaintiff's dog was the aggressor. His dog, Mikey, is well-mannered and very sweet. The plaintiff is clearly fabricating events for financial gain, and he thinks the judge will agree. He's accused of being irresponsible.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right. Ms. Brumfield, you are suing Mr. Ward for $5,000 for vet bills and personal injury bills because, according to you, his dog got out and attacked your dog and you. Tell me what happened.
Yes, basically I was walking my normal daily walk in the evening. We are walking and we seen a loose dog. So I crossed the street.
Is your dog on a leash?
Yes.
What kind of dog is your dog?
He's a mix. He's a Dachshund mixed with a poodle. So he's a little dog. So we cross the street. The dog follows us, immediately attacks my dog. So I'm shocked because this has never happened to me before.
And what kind of dog was the dog that was loose?
He's like a pit bull, but he's like, he's still young. So I would say, I don't know, but he's a pit bull.
Okay, go on.
And so he like locks onto my dog on the neck, like my dog is screaming, crying. I'm trying to like pick my dog up. He's like grabbing at my dog's like private area, any type of area on his body, he's grabbing. I'm like kicking this dog, literally has his back legs. I'm really trying to fight this dog. I'm kicking him with my boots. He's not getting off my dog. I was screaming for people to help me. These guys came, they had a metal pipe and literally beat the dog with the pipe to get the dog off of my dog. I dropped to the ground because I'm thinking that my dog is dead because he's just laying flat. He was screaming, so I'm thinking that my dog is dead because I'm just like hysterical, I'm crying. The people tell me, the guy that hit the other dog with the pipe, he tells me that my dog is still alive because his eyes were kind of like moving around. Tells me to go by my dog just so he can hear my voice, so to alert him a little bit more. So I alert him. My dog gets up, but it's like blood everywhere. I don't know, like honestly, where his bruises are because it's just leaking everywhere. Like he initially, like we're able to walk home. I had to phone my dad so that we can take him to the vet or to the emergency hospital.
Did you take the dog to the emergency hospital?
Yes.
And what did they do?
Basically, he had to get like these tubes in his neck because he was bit up pretty bad. He was bit in his private area, like it's a permanent scar that was like that the dog bit off. So like he had to get
stitches?
He had to get stitches like all around his neck, stitches on his private area.
These are the pictures that you submitted into evidence of the injuries. What am I looking at in that picture? It's kind of hard to tell.
That little opening is basically the part where the dog gnawed off. So like that's a permanent scar that they said like that piece of tissue, he can't save that. So that was what the dog bit off. This is like all of his neck, like he was bit, like he was literally biting him so much. His eyes were so red for like the whole month. Like it was very traumatizing.
Okay, now you also are suing for injuries to yourself. What were the injuries to you? How did those happen?
Basically, because I was like really fighting this dog. I was kicking him. I'm like pulling his legs, stuff. I really can't remember so much in the attack, but I fell when I was like fighting this dog. So I had like bruises on like my buttocks area. Like I had bruises here because I kind of fell like on my stomach. So I had a lot of bruising. Like, so I had to be on like muscle relaxers because it was so much like kind of like that pressure from it. Feel like I was literally in a physical fight with this dog.
All right, I have one picture of the bruising on your buttocks, which I won't show to America, but I'm going to look at. All right, that's very big. This is a bruise that is on your arm.
Yeah.
All right, so let me hear from you, Mr. Ward. What happened here?
Well, I wasn't actually present when the dog fight had taken place. I had heard from the person who went over and split up the dog fight.
So you spoke to the people who had to use a pipe to separate your dog, and they told you that your dog had done it, right? That what had happened.
Yes.
How did the dog get out?
But one of my neighbors, who's a real jerk, he lets the dog out. He messes with him a lot, and he's the only one that picks on him. He thinks it's funny, obviously, but it's not. But every now and then he lets the dog out and run loose.
How do you know that your neighbor let the dog loose? How do you know that?
I don't.
Oh, so but why are you concluding that? Have you ever caught your neighbor letting your dog loose?
Yes, it has happened in the past.
What kind of dog is it?
He's a pit bull.
Okay, that's like the last dog that should be running loose because pit bulls have a nature that makes them lock on and not let go when they bite. So it's very hard to break up a fight. Why is every case where a dog is roaming, why is it always a pit bull?
I don't know that we've ever had any other
non-pit bull. Honestly, and it's not, the law doesn't punish a pit bull, the breed. The breed is what the breed is, what the breed is. It's an animal. The law punishes the owner that lets the dog roam and allows a situation to happen where the dog is roaming. So, Mr. Ward, what happens Tell me what happens and why you haven't paid for this lady's vet bills.
I live on a fixed income, for one thing. It barely covers my rent.
You know, people with fixed incomes that barely cover their rent probably shouldn't have roaming pit bulls. That's just my estimation of your situation, because the roaming pit bulls can be expensive. Go on.
Okay, actually, so it was still my understanding that her dog was the aggressor. And you know, my dog just likes to play all the time. You know what I mean? He was a puppy.
How was her dog the aggressor?
He started nipping at my dog's legs when my dog just wanted to play.
Okay, you weren't there, so where is there any evidence? I just want to know, where is the evidence of that? Do you have those witnesses to call as witnesses now?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you have an affidavit from them saying, oh, her dog was the nasty aggressor? Do you have an affidavit from them saying that?
No.
All right, and how, I need you once again to understand, the law doesn't punish the nature of the dog. The law punishes the human that let the dog out, you see? So if her dog's on a leash and your dog isn't, you're gonna be responsible for whatever the dog does, because your dog wouldn't be near her dog if it was on a leash. You'd have the dog under your care, custody, and control, instead of the dog roaming the neighborhood, terrorizing another dog and a lady, you see? So really, we're not going to the law isn't going to sit there and say who nipped who first, because her dog is restrained. What the law is going to look at is whose dog wasn't restrained. And your dog is the one that wasn't restrained and came after them. So please explain to me how it is that you can, under oath, tell me that your dog was just playing at that time when I just showed the injuries to her dog.
In all honesty, I can't.
Right. Let's look at your, I've seen the vet bills. Those are very clear. I want to understand the bills that you are suing for your personal injuries, Ms. Brumfeld. Looking at those doctor bills, do you have the actual doctor's report?
They basically just, they didn't even document my dog incident, because like basically some of my symptoms, they were like testing me for like COVID-19 and stuff, because I was like, I don't know, my body kind of went into like a natural kind of like reaction. So a lot of the symptoms that I were having, they were testing me for COVID-19, because they were saying like this might be COVID.
Right, but I want to know that the reason you went to the doctor was because of this. Otherwise, you know, in other words, you're asking me to award you $1,500 for doctor's visits that, by the way, you are not out because they deducted. And do you have insurance?
Yes.
Right. So I need to see proof that this was, and it's 6 days after. So I need to see proof that this isn't just a regular doctor's visit that you had to go to because of whatever problem you had. So do you have anything that shows that the reason you went into the doctor was the dog fight, besides bills?
Okay.
No? All right.
No. Yeah.
All right. But I do see your bruises, and I know that had to hurt. So, and you're suing for pain and suffering. Did animal control ever knock on your door?
Oh, yeah, they sure did. I received $750 in fines.
Okay. And I found this kind of interesting. In your complaint, what you say is, I was able to dodge the dog police for a few weeks. You know, let me just give you a little piece of advice. Something you never want to say to a judge is, I was able to dodge the police. I mean, you know, the word, in fact, if the word dodge is in your vocabulary, it's probably not looking good for you. So I am going to definitely order you to pay the $1,979.70 that she's out in vet bills. That's for darn sure. I'm going to add to that $500 for pain and suffering, because I see the injuries that happened to her when she got knocked down. The bruise, she doesn't want me to show it on national television. The bruise on her thigh and buttocks is this big. And that's part of why I think owning a pit bull when you can't afford to own a pit bull and letting it roam free when it shouldn't be roaming free is a very expensive habit. You might want to give the pit bull to somebody who can actually care for the pit bull. So I'm going to order you some pain and suffering for her as well, for a total of $2,479.70 in damages to the plaintiff. Good luck, ma'am. How's the dog doing now?
He's doing good. He's actually right here. Well, he's
bring him up. Let me see him. Let me see him. I need a happy ending to something. Seriously.
This is Poppy.
I'm glad to hear her dog is okay.
Yeah, look at that sweet thing.
Yeah.
Looks like my dog, doesn't it? Just much smaller,
Much smaller.
and better looking. All right. Good
say
luck,
much
everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails. She's going to get just under $2,500 from the defendant. Mr. Ward, how do you feel about this?
Well, first of all, I'm very happy to hear that her dog is okay. Basically, I agree with the judge's findings. So, I wish the plaintiff well.
All right. I guess the best advice is you've just got to be very careful with your dog because obviously he can be very aggressive.
Yes, sir.
Pit bulls are that way.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you. They're expensive, as the judge points out. They can be very expensive. You're learning the hard way. All right, Ms. Broomfield, I'm sure you feel better now. You got just under $2,500 to help. How do you feel about the judge's verdict?
It's not the amount that I wanted, but I'm happy that she ruled in my favor because that was really a traumatic experience.
I can imagine you were scared to death when that happened, right?
Literally was scared to death. Absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Well, good. We're all glad your puppy's doing better, and congratulations.
Thank you. Take care now.
Okay, that'll do it for this case. Most interesting one. Harvey?
Doug, in small claims court, judges sometimes can accept hearsay, but when there's no basis to know whether it's true or false, even in small claims, it's out of bounds.
Are there any other traditions around your house that you have that maybe others don't have?
You had a beautiful habit, and I don't know where you picked this up.
Right.
I think you're the only one who does this. Your brothers didn't do it. That you would send your mother flowers on your birthday.
My brothers do it too.
Your brothers do it too?
Well,
Where did you guys
they
get that?
do
It's
it.
one of the sweetest things I've ever seen.
Mom got flowers on our birthday because, after all, you
Yeah.
kind of owe your birthday to them.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So our kids usually do that. I'm supposed to be the one who fills in if they fall down on the job. They don't pick them. Sometimes I might have fallen down on the job,
I sometimes get flowers on my children's birthdays.
Right. We're supposed to, and
But that was that's a lovely gesture, and we call them Social Thursdays after a song that's called Social
well, you
Friday.
don't call it that. You call it
Jueves Social, and that's every Thursday. All of us get together at 1 o'clock for lunch at my mother's house, at my 95-year-old mother's house, and her caretaker cooks a killer Cuban meal.
Yes.
And cousins come over. My sister comes over from Broward. My brother. Everybody just stops what they're doing and goes over there at 1 o'clock.
We play dominoes at the end.
Sometimes we play dominoes.
At the end, we have what we call sobremesa. Sobremesa.
Yeah,
right?
we've tried to teach you that. Sobremesa is over the table, and it's
you don't eat and run.
No, there's no dine and dash. It's like you sit and you talk to the people you just had a meal with.